Last week I reached 200,000 followers on Instagram, and the one question that I haven't answered anywhere until now is how do I light and film my videos? Honestly, I've been dodging the question a little bit. Not because I'm trying to gatekeep, you guys know that I'm all about sharing the knowledge, but more because it's just not my lane. I'm a photographer who teaches photography, not content creation, not gear reviews, not videography, and I just kind of assume that you don't care about the setup of everything. But maybe I was wrong. Let me know in the comments, do you want to see more videos about this side of the stuff that I do? Because yes, today I'm pulling back the curtain and I'm going to finally show you how I create my videos. What light do I use, how I set up my cameras, how I film a skit back and forth, but most importantly, how lighting has actually made the biggest impact on how my content looks and feels. If you don't know lighting, it's very hard to do video. If we haven't met yet, my name is Mike and I'm an official Nikon creator and photography educator based here in Australia. Over the past 2 years, I've helped millions of people understand photography with my daily videos on Instagram and TikTok. But this year I'm jumping onto YouTube because I think it's finally time I started diving a little bit deeper into my photography explainers and helping people just like you finally understand photography. Let's rewind a little bit. Like most photographers turned creators, when I first started I used what I had, which most of the time meant using window light, which, don't get me wrong, can be beautiful. Natural light is free, it's soft, and when it's good, it's really good. But the key word there is if. You see, natural light is unpredictable. Some days it's harsh and contrasty, other days it's grey and flat. Some days the clouds just keep moving over and you can't have any consistency between your shots. And I cannot tell you how many times I've set my gear up, got everything ready to shoot, and then the clouds come over and completely ruin my shot. Not to mention you can't film at nighttime, which makes it very hard during the middle of winter. All of that unpredictability made filming harder because it meant that I couldn't turn up on a consistent schedule. And it also impacted my editing workflow because you can't easily cut between two scenes with different lighting. Now, I know what you're thinking, why don't I just turn on the light here in my office? The real issue with room lights, besides them flickering and being overhead, is that they don't really have a good color rendering index, or CRI. This means that the lights don't emit the full spectrum of light like the sun does. If it's not being emitted, then it can't be reflected by my skin or by my jumper, and the camera just won't pick up those colors. The other thing that's super important when it comes to creating my videos is the lighting direction. If you've ever seen my Instagram videos, you would know that I do a skit where I talk to myself back and forth. Now, one of the most important things, in my opinion, when it comes to recording a skit is maintaining consistency of the light direction. Meaning that when I cut between two shots of people talking, the light is coming from the same direction in both. Here's an example where it's done correctly. The lighting comes from the right-hand side in one shot, and it comes from the left-hand side in another shot. But here's the example where it's done incorrectly, and the lighting comes from the left-hand side in both of the shots, and it looks really weird to cut between. You might not know it, but you can immediately sense that something is off. It's less believable that they're in the same space anymore because the lighting's not the same. Now, one thing you might not realize is that I don't record both halves of my skit in the same room. I record one half sitting here at my desk, but there is no door in front of me for anyone to walk through, and the door in my office faces the wrong way to work with the shot. So instead, I record the other half in another room using a doorway that does face the same way. I hope you can now see why lighting is so important when it comes to creating continuity. As a quick side note before we get too far in, the camera angle is also just as important as the lighting when it comes to creating these skits. You might notice that I don't look directly at the camera when I'm recording any of these skits because I'm trying to give the illusion that I'm having a conversation with someone. Think of your favorite movie. They rarely look at the camera because that would be breaking the fourth wall. It's the same thing for my videos. So the camera angle is super important, and that's where I employ the 180-degree rule. Simply put, it means that you should never swing the camera more than 180 degrees off axis when you're recording a conversation. Imagine two people standing and talking. Now draw a line between them, and that is the center line. The camera should always stay on one side of that center line. It's like a pendulum. It can swing anywhere on that side of the line, but it should never cross it. So the camera is on the left-hand side of person one, but it's on the right-hand side of person number two. This just makes cutting between the shots so much smoother and the audience isn't distracted. One person is looking camera left and the other person is looking camera right. In this conversation, it all makes sense, and you probably don't even register that I'm doing something here to make you feel that way. But let me switch it up and show you what it looks like. Here I have both people looking to the right-hand side of the camera, and you can easily see that something looks off. The shots don't match up, and so you, the audience, start to feel confused. So if you can just pair the 180-degree rule with lighting coming from the same side in both shots, it feels like it's happening in one scene. Now, it is personal preference, but I also shoot on the dark side of the face. If we go back into our conversation diagram here, I always position the light on the opposite side of the camera. By doing this, both people get nice shadows on their face, and it just looks more cinematic, as opposed to the light just being straight behind the camera, which would make the face look flat and you just lose all dimension. Because of everything I just talked about, you can see why having a good quality light source is so important. Not only so I can record on days that are cloudy or after dark, but just so I can have more creative control with my shots. In a second, I'll show you how I deliver my lines and get everything to flow so nicely, but first let me talk about the light that has changed everything for me. This light that I'm using now is the Neewer FS300C, which Neewer did send to me to test out as my main light for my Instagram videos, and I'm absolutely loving it. Now, Neewer aren't directly paying me for this YouTube video, I just want to talk about the light, but they did send it to me, and gifting is a form of compensation, so it has to be disclosed. This light is a 300 watt RGB LED light, which means it's not only bright, but it also gives me the ability to fine tune any white balance or virtually any color that I like. It's also powered by AC into the wall, which is great because battery powered lights always die on me during long recording sessions. Now, like we talked about before, this light has a color rendering index of 95%, which means its color accuracy is excellent. My skin tones just naturally look good into the camera, and I don't have to do any weird adjustments in post to make it look right. And what's really cool, and something I've been using quite a lot actually, is that this light can be controlled by an app on my phone. So while I'm in the middle of recording, I can change the white balance of the light, I can turn it up really bright, or I can turn it down all the way. It's honestly amazing because it means that I can change things while I'm sitting here in my seat, and I don't need to get up and change the camera or change the back of the light to make sure everything matches. Now, a great light is only half of the equation, and what you put in front of it matters almost just as much. For that, I'm using the Neewer SF85Q softbox. It's an 85cm parabolic softbox, which fits really nicely here above my desk. It has two internal diffusion layers, and it turns the light into a really nice, soft, flattering light source. As an example, I'll turn off the hair light and I'll show you what I mean. Now, with just this one light source, you can see how that light wraps around my face and gives a really professional, smooth look. For comparison, this is what it would look like with a smaller 45cm softbox. It's still soft, but you can definitely see more harsh shadows. But now this is what it would look like if it was just a bare bulb without any softbox. It's almost unbearable. You would never want this. And if you don't have a softbox, you can always just bounce your light off the side wall. Let me do that now. That's much better. But all of a sudden the whole room is lit up and I'm not much brighter than the background. Okay, here we are back on the larger 85cm softbox, and you can tell that the light is getting a lot softer. But you may notice that there's still some spill onto the background, so I can add a grid to be able to control that spill. It's a pretty massive difference, right? Now let me just add my hair light and we'll be ready to go. Together, the light and the softbox give me a super clean, cinematic look that's really easy to use every single time I want to record. Now that you've seen my lighting setup, I want to go through a little bit of how I actually film my videos, especially because I do everything here solo. There's no one behind the camera. I don't read from a teleprompter or anything. It's just me, my script, my light, and my camera. The way that I get through my script is by breaking it into small, manageable chunks. I script all my videos line by line and then memorize one line at a time and deliver them to camera. And then later in the edit, I can cut out all the gaps and it just flows together nicely. Of course, it is more natural in my Instagram videos when it is a back and forth skit, so you're expecting the cut. I also just find that memorizing the lines and then delivering them to camera makes me sound much more natural than reading from a teleprompter. Plus, I'm not that strict that I can't just improv on the spot if I think of something. The real reason that I script my videos is so that one, the skit flows together nicely back and forth between two people. Otherwise, I'd forget what one person said and then the other person wouldn't make any sense. But two, it's also to make sure that I don't just ramble and talk on about a bunch of nonsense. My primary goal with everything that I do is to provide value and not waste anyone's time. If I started speaking off the cuff, I would definitely ramble and not get my point across. So yes, scripting is harder in the beginning, but it does make the final product so much better. So that's it. That's how I light, film, and deliver my videos that you see on my page. It's not overly complicated, and it's not about having the fanciest setup in the world. It's about finding gear that helps you stay consistent, stay creative, and most importantly, helps you create the content when inspiration strikes. And again, a big thanks to Neewer for sending me their new FS300C video light to try out. If you've been watching my videos recently and thinking something looks better, well, now you know what's changed. As I said in the beginning, please let me know if you want to see more behind the scenes type videos like this one. I'd love to show you more of how I work if that's something that you're interested in, so let me know. Up here is another video that you'll probably love if you haven't seen it already, or if you have seen that one, go check out my podcast, which is right down here. Thanks for hanging out, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video next week.